What's going on? I messed it up this week too. I did it too early. Episode 40.
Ooh.
Holy hell. 40 episodes. And we got the retic queen herself right down there, Nicole. How you doing tonight, Nicole?
Hi. I'm good.
Still trying to figure out the camera.
I know the camera's so
It's raining, so it's hard for me to stay awake.
We appreciate that though, 100% for sure.
Has it rained all day today?
Yeah, and I was driving in it all day. I drove to like the very top northeastern corner to get my brother, and it was like a 3.5 hour drive. I just got back like a half hour ago. I drove in it all day. It was miserable, but we did it. It was all right. All good. Get some shout outs going on. Blue Zombie, what's up? Thanks for coming in.
What's up, Vance?
Hey, Zeus. What's up, dude?
Hey, Zeus.
That's a Jesus.
Hey, Zeus.
What up, bro?
Bro.
Keys, what's going on, dude?
Keys.
Coming in.
Keisha.
Robin, what up, dude?
What's up, Rob?
How's it going? Thanks for coming in. Don D.
The Don Dada.
What up, dude? Celtic Reptiles, how's it going, dude? Thanks for coming in. Hey, Mitzi, how's it going? Thanks for coming.
Mitzi.
What up, Kent? There was a T there. I don't know if you heard it, but there was a T. Kent. What up, dude?
With the T.
It is so hard. When we're on together, it's so hard to tell if someone says Ken or Kent. I mean, like, nobody pronounces that T. It's just hard.
I'm always like Kent. You know, I feel like I purposefully am like at the end.
Right. Prophecy, what's up, dude? Thanks for coming in. We got Alex saying hey. Hey, Alex. Reptiles. What up, dude? Thanks for coming. And David from Synergy Morphs. Wow.
David.
I might be showing some of the new pickups tonight. I'm sure you've seen them. I've put them out there, but it's because of that man that I got one of them. That's why he's a cool mofo. But not on the cool mofo list, but you're still a cool mofo. So, kind of want to touch base about, like, you know, you go to shows, before we get into the questions, when you go to the shows and these kids ask to hold your snakes, like, I kind of stood behind the scenes of a stand this weekend of Chris from CR Reptiles. I was behind there, and it got me thinking about a lot of things. Like, these people come up and like ask to hold your snakes, and you know, it's a big thing. Do you let them? Do you not let them? And I'm on the side, after seeing it being behind it, I'm on the side of no. Like, I don't want no one holding the animals that I bring there, just for the simple fact there's that dirty mofo up there that stinks to all beat hell, and he was just sitting there letting you, you know, hold anything of his you want. And then you come over to my clean, sanitary, you know, environment and ask to hold my snakes. And I'm not, I mean, even if you're doing the whole hand sanitation things, does that really kill mites? I mean, if you bring home mites from a show, that's going to suck. But how do you guys feel about that? What's your opinions on it? There, we got a couple more people rolling in.
Start with.
Go ahead, Stan. You start, and then Nicole, you can answer.
So I personally feel like you got to definitely have the hand sanitizer. So that's first and foremost. But you got to educate too. So you can't hold your animals back. I mean, some people got to have that feeling in their hand. So
what up, Bill?
You should be able to feel out your people as you're talking to them. You know, whether they have a little bit of experience, but it's, you know,
what up,
if they don't have the experience, you should be there educating them on it.
Right.
So, I mean, mites, that's another whole thing. You got to treat your tables and treat your stuff as you set up. And then if you're worried about bringing it home, then obviously when you get home, because you've been handling animals there, then I would, you know, suggest just go home straight to the shower and wash up and take clothes off. And
right.
I mean, that worried. I mean, I have heard a lot of people lately that, I can't say a lot, but I have heard people bringing them home from the shows, but bringing them home more on their animals. But you have to remember, you got a weekend show, you're setting up on Friday, your animals are sitting in that show until Sunday. You know, you're not there at night. It's not like you bring home your animals every day and then go back. So it's a chance they could travel. So you just got to prepare your table just as much as the person next to you, if not more, you know?
Right. See, we had
There's
Rod
always a
saying
chance.
that he ain't buying it if you don't hold it. And, you know, Prophecy saying on the other end, like, you know, I'll just hold my animals back and, you know, you can go buy someone else's. But what do you, how do you feel? What's your looks on that, Nicole?
So, I mean, it's twofold for me. I have a large
Whatever,
collection,
Mando.
also not, you know, that are not sale animals. They are my pets. So I do have to be very particular. I do have procedures in place. Tell you that even with Stan talking about with treating, you only can treat for so much, especially if there's other animals in the facility. For example, the spray that we use to spray around our tables is fine if we are next to other people with snakes, but if you're next to somebody who actually have geckos or something like that, you could literally make their animals sick. So you got to think about that as well. Now, my husband would tell you that we're both very leery of who holds. You have to be. The good thing with the retics is that most people don't just want to hold them. If a person wants to hold a baby retic, typically they are looking to buy it. So I am more, I would say, more inclined to let you hold a baby retic than I am people just constantly picking up ball pythons. And for two reasons. That person who's picking up the baby retic didn't pick up snakes at every table. They just didn't. That's not what they were there for. They're not there just hold ball pythons. What we have restricted is children holding animals. Like, it's like our animals are not for show and tell. They're more for show and tell. So if you're going to, like, mommy, can I hold them, we're very restricted with that for multiple reasons, because that child has held, I can guarantee you, multiple snakes. But Stan talking about the educational part, we don't just say no, we educate as to why we won't let you, you know, just hold an animal or whatever. But we don't also try to stay away from saying, are you buying it? You know, because I don't want people to feel like you only can be educated about this animal if you're buying it.
What up, Bosa?
We ask where you set up at. For me, I'm very particular about what shows I do and who I set up around. So normally I'm next to people that I can trust to some degree, or trust them enough to know that they would not bring sick or might infest the animals to a show. But it's the risk every time that you go. So prepping your animals before, and when I come in, I treat them all before they go back into their enclosures, just to be 100% cautious. But somebody else said it in the thing. It's going to depend on who's this customer, right? For me, going to a show, I don't want to hold your snake unless I'm buying it, because I know, you know, from the other side of it. But if I'm just a person looking for an animal just to pick up a pet, you're going to struggle to sell animals at a show that people cannot hold or touch, especially the new customer. The new customer we bringing in, the people at the shows that you're selling at most of the time, especially at these local shows, are not other breeders. They are pet keepers or people who are looking to keep for the first time. That person who is looking to keep for the first time needs to put hands on that animal before you sell them. So I would say limit the shows you do. Like, if there's one show that I will never do, and that's because I know it has a reputation of letting people in. I won't say the name. But you have to limit the shows that you do if you feel that way. But I think you're doing yourself a disservice to go to a show and then tell people you're absolutely not going to let them hold the snake unless they're going to buy it.
All right. What's up, Rudy? All right. Well, we're at 20, Nicole. You know, you might want to hold your seat down because it's truffle shuffle time. We hit 20 viewers. I don't know if you ever seen this, But
Close your eyes, Nicole. Close your eyes, Nicole.
All right. So you know what the Goonies are. When I hit 20 people, I do the truffle shuffle. And usually some run away. So we went immediately down to 18, so it worked. It chased people away. I don't know what happened to Pressure Feed. They dropped off, but
He might be
Right.
having a little connection error.
so there's a little bit of news on Morph Market. I mean, I'm sure you've heard about it because this has been out there. But they're opening like a wholesale listing, like how to get in, like to a wholesale market on Morph Market. There they are.
I don't know what was going on, guys. We're having microphone difficulties for some
Technical,
reason.
yeah, literally technical.
So,
Williams missed a truffle shuffle. We hit 20, and
oh,
then
goodness.
we missed
I
out. So
didn't miss
missed it.
anything bad then.
Right.
I know you are all bummed out about that.
Weens is.
Oh, shucks. I tell you what.
But I guess approved sellers with a paid membership. So it's got to be like a paid membership. You got to be paying for Morph Market. Can view, buy, and sell wholesale animals now on Morph Market. I mean, it just goes through and tells you. But if you're interested in that, go on Morph Market, check it out, and maybe get a way to wholesale some of the animals that some of the misses that you don't, because they're not all prized animals. We do hit normals here and there, and I mean, you hit a bunch, they're making it at least easier for people to get in touch with people that buy wholesale animals.
Yeah.
I'm lucky because Chris, he knows a guy, so I'm tied right in. I like if I have anything that I can't sell, I know a guy could take it too. Now it's only like $10-15 for snake. It's like, do I sit here and raise this and feed this, or just do I move on from it?
Facts. I know you can also give away animals as well,
That's what I plan on doing.
Because my thing with wholesale is the same thing I have with selling to bad keepers, is that those typically animals end up in keepers' hands that I don't know.
Hey, Candy.
I'm still in part of breeding that I care where my animals. I don't care if it's a normal or not end up. So
Right.
that is not an option for me. But I have introduced smaller children, younger children, and their families to the lesser value per se of animals. And then sometimes I just let, especially with the children. So I give away to children only. Normally, like even most recently, I gave away one of the black-head iris because the child loved it that much. And for me, a big part of what we do now is educating the new generation in order to keep this going, in order to keep us not to hit these recessions hard and stuff like that. We have to create more people who want to keep these animals. And so I look at that lesser value animal, and I don't like to use that because I got some normals that are beautiful.
Correct.
Your animal to give away to that aspiring child, or maybe that mom and dad who wants to learn about snakes for the first time. Not saying that if something goes wrong, that animal life is less valued, but it is less of a financial business loss if something does go wrong.
It is.
Right.
It is.
Yeah.
And what is it for you to give it away anyways? I mean, at the end of the day, what for you to walk away with the $60? Like,
And it also like
it's going to a good person and a good heart,
It's getting them out there more so that people are less afraid too, which is really important because people are so afraid of even like the tiniest little thing,
Right.
But they just need to be educated is just what it is.
Yeah. And then
How could you be afraid of a little baby hog snake? Them things are like that long. I mean, how could you be afraid of that thing?
They're so cute.
Hey, I'll scream like a girl over a little baby spider. So
That's true.
And you can set up at the shows like that way too. Like, so if you have your normals, for example, those are the ones that you okay with the children doing the show and tell type of stuff with. Then on this side is your show and tell. You could do that as well. Like take the lesser value animals so the kids can get that experience, because the best part of the shows to me, don't get me wrong, the sales are great. it is the educate, and not just children, but the non-reptile keeper. And a lot of that, you make people fall in love with that first touch. I mean, I can't tell you how many times people like, oh my God, it's not wet, it's not slimy. There are people who still think that a snake is wet and slimy. So when they feel that and they feel that it's totally opposite, it makes them now want to make that purchase, whether it's with you or somebody else at the show.
They think it's that earthworm feel.
Totally different.
Slimy and wet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. And they do feel the absolute opposite of that.
Totally.
Smooth.
Stan, you got anything on the FW or US Arc or US Arc Florida? Anything on that end?
No, I know they do have a local meeting coming up here soon. I think in December. I didn't catch the date on it though, and I know there's some uproar still about the monitor that the white throat monitor that they euthanized. But that also, so from my understanding, he gave the order not to euthanize anything anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But he
But they
gave
still
that
did
order,
it.
right?
but
He
that
gave that order before.
They still did
Yeah,
it.
but that wasn't, I guess, from what he said. He sent a letter or whatever to US Arc Florida, and he said that he told his people not to euthanize anything, but forgot to tell the private people that work for FWC. So they have like private
sideline people.
animal catchers that go out and capture animals. Supposedly, they're the ones that euthanize the monitor, and not actual like. But I mean, you still obviously work for them, right?
You should have been. Your workers should have been like, "Look, we can't do that right now."
So I guess
I mean,
supposedly he sent out a letter. Now everybody's supposed to not euthanize anything anymore at this point until further notice.
Why don't you just streamline euthanasia like every other state? Like, I can't just kill my animals. I have to take it somewhere to have it properly put down legally. So
I mean, even if you are if you're a private animal catcher, then why don't you go catch it, take it to the vet, and let the vet do its job? And then there's never no more arguing, and nobody can bash you, because now it's like if anything happened, it's in the vet's hand now.
Right.
But they just, I don't know, for whatever
and
reason,
not to mention they
seem
know
to
the
just
proper
go
way to do it.
willy-nilly and decide to take matters into their own hands and take their 2-step, 4-step, 1-step process to. It's crazy. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that can live down here, but there's a lot of stuff that can. I mean, I was just talking about it the other day. I mean, if you let a snake go in the subway system in New York, that thing will live right on through the wintertime.
Plenty of rats for to live off of.
Underground heat.
Yeah, but I'm saying, yeah, but the rats can also take some other temperatures. But you let a snake go down there, I'm telling you, that thing will live down there no problem, because it's just constant heat down there. I don't care if it's wintertime, summertime. It's just the heat don't go nowhere. There's no place for it to escape except the stupid little vents that they put in the road that you can see some steam coming out of.
But a city runs on a subway system, so if a subway is running, it's going to always be heat, and them trains are always going. So that's a perfect example.
Yep. Nicole, you said,
I mean, as long as they don't touch that track, they would be fine.
Right.
What's that, Justin?
Right. I was saying, Nicole, you say you take them to the vet and get them euthanized. Like, say, like a big reed tick, you had to get euthanized. Will they also do the same thing, like for a dog, do the cremation, et cetera, for you if you pay for it?
Yep.
That's really, that's really cool.
Like the vet that my dogs go to is not the same one that my snakes go to. They are probably about 15 minutes apart.
Correct.
You have to be, that's another thing. Like there are some vets who will tend to reptiles who are not specialists or reptiles. So those services you're only going to get at an exotic reptile, like literally. You're the one who's licensed.
We only have 2 here in town, so we know we have 2 here in town.
But yeah, so even if like, let's say a retic passes away, that's what happens. Like I wouldn't just dispose of them. I would have cremated and kept in the house like I do the dogs.
Right. That's kind of why I was curious, because even like you say, for instance, you wanted one you wanted to bury underneath the tree as your special one, and you want to go out there and be like, this is a you were able to do that too, or have it cremated, et cetera, et cetera. That's really cool to know that. That's
sure.
Good
information. That would ever pass away in here would definitely be here. Like that's for sure. Like it's not one that I can see myself just saying, okay, come get it. Like it
right.
No.
I feel the same way. Like I love
She
them
would kill
all.
me.
I'm like, oh my
I'm
God.
like, babe, I buried it in the bag. She'd be like, what?
You in the I hope you dug a hole right next to it.
Right. Like it.
That's crazy.
Do you name all of your snakes?
I name anything that is a pet or anything that is a breeder or anything that's a breeder, pretty much. So
What's up, anything?
Any offsprings, I don't name them until I determine that they are going to be a long-term holdback. Yep. But other than that, because if not, I get attached. So if it gets a name, it's not leaving.
Maybe that's my problem. I name everything.
Oh yeah, if it gets a name, it's now here. Laughing the other day because I was watching Billy's live, and he was just talking about like parting with those older animals, those breeders, or those that don't have anything to do with your project. That's easy, except for the ones that I named. And it's so funny. Like there's animals that should not be here right now, but because it has a name.
Because it has a name.
Yep. It ain't going nowhere.
That's funny. Makes sense. Never thought of it like that.
Right.
So I'm sabotaging myself with all of this. Trying to keep everybody, because I'm like, whenever we start to like, get into the sales of them, whenever we have to get rid of ones that we're just kind of done with, like we use them for what we need. I mean, not to say it like that, but that's going to be so hard for me, especially some of the first ones we got. I'm going to be like, absolutely not.
It's funny.
You better give one of her babies. That's it.
I was literally telling her a couple weeks ago, like, look, there's something we got at the beginning that I probably won't even use. I need to go out the door. And she's like, what? And I'm like, they got to go.
She was like, I hate to say it, but and started naming a couple. I'm like, no, sir. I'm walking away from you right now. Bye.
Exactly.
Rob says that's why he never named his kids.
I tell my daughter all the time, I got a receipt for you. I'll take you back.
He does, and she'll look at me and be like, "That's not true."
Like, I got you on a discount. Listen.
Hysterical.
All right, Stan, you about ready to get these questions starting?
Yeah.
All righty. Shoot. You up first.
So first and foremost, I want to thank Lady Tiz for coming on, and thank you for everything you do for the community and everything you do for breast cancer awareness. I appreciate that. So for the people that don't know, can you tell us where you're from and what got you into it?
Originally, I am, well, most people know, born and raised in Baltimore. I left Baltimore in 91 and moved several different places, North Carolina, Ohio, and then back to Maryland. And then I kind of stayed in the DC area when I came back. Animals all my life. Like my mother told the story recently at an event that I did. Although she exaggerated and said that I brought monkeys home, but I literally lived at a woods. So we lived in Cherry Hill growing up, was a island, literally an island. So it was a urban community surrounded by water and woods, and we had all kinds of animals, from snakes to possums, bats, like everything. You was exposed to that. And that was back in the day when children were adventurous, where video games wasn't a thing. You talking about shooting birds on a video game, we was outside really like taking slingshots, making them. So we were out in nature all the time. So as far as I can remember, I remember the first animal ever that I bought in the house. I had to probably been like 2 or 3, and I put a bunch of grasshoppers in a jar. That was the very first thing that I ever brought home. And then from that point on, Like my father always knew, like oddly, I had this thing about animals. I used to like literally like take possums and stick them in my clothes and go on and hide them, stuff like that. Like,
Hell yeah.
Alex, the funny thing is right now today, I can't. If you show me a possum randomly on my deck, I will not go outside. But as
You
a
know too much. You know too much now.
What
You
did I
didn't know
say?
nothing then, you know?
like, oh, you're gonna get rabies if this thing bit you or whatever. So I didn't have like the fears of animals at all. And I have limited fears of animals even now today. So it's just growing up in my neighborhood. Most people in the neighborhood I grew up with, they either like some weird animal or, you know, I'm probably one of the few who kept a bunch of snakes too. But most people loved animals. I have people who I literally grew up with who keeps like alligators, for example. When we can keep alligators in Maryland, young people had alligators when I was growing up, you know, and that was like the one thing that my parents would not let me bring in the house. Like that was like a no. Like you're not bringing an alligator in here. But yeah, just was I was prone to animals.
That's awesome.
You was outside. You was outside.
Yeah, we was outside.
Yeah.
We was talking about like how we used to go crabbing and fishing. Like a lot of the things that I still love at this age started from a childhood. But like Alex said, I did things more cautiously now. But when we were younger, we literally would go in the middle, the water that we lived around. We would literally walk out to that water, and that's how we caught our crabs. That's how we caught our fish. And as kids, that wasn't like our parents might not have had that on a dinner plate. That's what we was going to bring home. We would go to one of each other's houses, and if we caught crabs, we gonna cook crabs at Mrs. So and So house. If we got fish, they're gonna bring the fish over to my house, and we're gonna cook fish. So even as like 6 and 7 year olds, our parents was teaching us how to survive and cook by the foods that we was getting from the waters. So I think, and that's a lot of stuff that I think the newer children, like even my grandkids, I try to expose them to that because I don't think a lot of our children would be able to survive off of natural resources if they had to. And we're living in times where they at least have to have those skills because it's like we had Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, all those things was really, really big when we were coming up. These kids, you tell them how to fly, how to stove.
We have this. That's it.
Is this?
That's it.
Or iPad. My daughter's iPad.
Yeah, I remember my father used to say, "You never said you was bored when we were kids." It was like my old man would look at you, and be like, "Bored, what?"
Yeah.
He'd be like, "I'll tell you what you can do."
Like, get out of my face.
Right.
He's like, "You see that road out there?" I'd be like, "Yes, sir." He goes, "Well, go out there and try to dodge traffic. You won't be bored anymore."
Yeah.
I'd be like,
but
"What?"
Even
and then you got thinking about it. It was like,
bikes. You don't see children ride. You see more adults riding bikes today than you do children.
Right. Exactly.
Yep.
And adults making their kids ride bikes. You know, their kids are behind them like, you know.
I used to be on my bike. Like my mother used to have to come over to my friend's house, be like, "You coming home for dinner? Your father's been hollering for you." Be like, "Oh, I'm coming home right now." Like,
we didn't need no elbow pads or helmet.
We got back in the door, but that was the thing. Was like, I don't know. We were never in the house as kids. You know, you was always out and about with your friends. Like you got out of school, you went in, you changed your clothes, you did your homework, and boom, out the door until dinner time.
Yeah.
And dinner time hit, you come in, you eat, boom, you go back out for a little while. Of course, I was born and raised in South Carolina, so you know it was a little different. But nowadays, I don't know, it's a whole different world now with the you know the kids. You know, it's not as easy as it was when we were kids. You know,
but you know, I don't even know. Think about it though. I just think that parents took more time in teaching their kids how to survive. So I'll give you an example.
Right.
Everybody who were born in the 70s and the 80s know of Adam. You know of the Mississippi child burnings. You know of the Atlanta killings. Like it's so many things that we were taught that I was saying to my daughter, my grown daughter the other day, y'all are so naive in the world today that you don't realize that someone can come up to you. I don't let people get close to me, for example, because if someone want to abduct you, they don't have to be just jumping out of a van, grabbing you and pulling you in. They can get close enough to inject you with something, to knock you unconscious, and then just quietly take your own. So like teaching, our parents taught us stuff like that. We saw what happened to Adam. We saw a 5-year-old boy be kidnapped from a mall and decapitated. We shelter children from that now. No, they need to know that can happen to them too. And so therefore we would be more comfortable with them being outside playing into dark and stuff like that. What happens is we shelter them so much that our children have no survival skills outside of yelling for mommy or daddy. They don't know how to be sharpened on their toes. They don't know how to peep something about to happen. They're so naive into like this whole where the world is free type of thing that they don't have guards up, where we had guards up. If it was a group of girls, when my girl, we was riding our bikes and we was 5, we saw a white van and it was following us. We was pulling out the road going somewhere to tell somebody about the van.
Right.
You know.
And that's the problem too, is like me and her were talking, like there was like a lady, like there was a study done on it. A lady was getting kidnapped and was yelling help in an apartment complex. Well, one person heard her yelling help and thought that the next person heard it and he was going to call for help. Well, that person thought the next person was going to call for help. And nobody actually
something in psychology.
And nobody actually called for help. And that's the thing, like back in the old days, if we heard some shit like that, you had 10, 20 people coming out the door with guns and they were going to fucking help. And now everybody's too scared and pussed to run inside and don't want to help nobody and do nothing, you know. And that's how I look at society. I'm like, it's I don't know. It's also how people have been raised up in the generation, you know. People think differently, you know. And like I said, people back then would come out the door with guns and like shit like that didn't happen. Somebody did it, like you said, a murder in a town. We all knew about it and everybody was paying attention and people riding around with guns and knew, you know, like you can still ride your bike outside and be okay, you know. Like,
you just alert about it. You know,
Jimmy down the street paying attention and Aunt Carol got a gun too down the street. She paying attention too. So you be okay. Keep riding that bike, you know. But times are different. Times are different for sure.
Times are definitely different. And unfortunately, it's out.
Now they got to be taught on. It's almost like they got to be taught on TikTok now.
And like nothing on TikTok tells the whole story of safety. Like it's everything is so exaggerated for the like. So they're telling the story of what happened, not how you could have prevented it. It really doesn't tell you like the end story. Like you got to watch part 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Like that's another thing. Like these children, we are living in a time now where our mom, your mom and dad were, whether you wanted to give them kudos, like or not, like you knew when they was right or wrong. It was no stranger could tell you anything to override what your parents told you back then. Even if you still did it, you knew your parents was right, or you knew it was going to be some repercussions from it or something like that. It's like the world is just a big fantasy today, and it's taken away. Like I said, it's crazy how if we have an opportunity, because I do think the younger generation, like my grandkids' generation, they are very impressionable. They're a little sharper than my children's generation. And I think we have a chance to revert it because of their sharpness. Like I said, it's not an all bad thing of how the younger generation is becoming innovative. Like I love how my grandkids' brains work. I love that they're way more advanced mentally.
Yes. Right.
But utilizing that for its good, knowing that literally, like my grandchild, she could run this operation if I die. I teach her that. Listen to my granddaughter at 8 years old talk about everything that goes on here with these animals, how if something shall happen to Pooh, what she's going to have to do, and all that type of stuff.
Okay, yeah,
it's not an 8-year-old; it's an 18.
That's amazing. That's good right there. That's really
an 18-year-old. And so I couldn't have done that with my own children. Like for them to be so responsible. So this new generation of kids is being born. If we do this right, we can fix it because they're very intelligent.
Right, because there's a part of the technology that is making them more advanced because they're seeing everything sooner, they're experiencing it through that sooner, you know.
I mean, just the fact that you were here to say, "Oh, I know how to do this with the retake," because I watched so and so video on YouTube, you know, and I'm like, "What video was that?" You know, and they pull up the video and they watch, and I'm like, "Wow, there is benefit to the technology they have, but we We can't let them just run with it. Just like our parents didn't just let us run with the VCR and the DVDs.
Right.
My parents literally would label in red which movies were rated R back then. And we knew that we should not look at those particular videos. Not saying that we knew that these were going to show things that we probably shouldn't see or anything like that.
Right.
I think that it's so much of here you go, and it's parents who are working three and 4 jobs, which I'm gonna say to anybody, if you have children, fuck that. One thing I always said, I had to work. I had to because I had to feed them, but I'd be dag if I was going to give 2 and 3 jobs my children's lives. Like when you give them 8 hours, you already taken away so much time of guidance and supervision for your kids. The single parent homes, the benefit of having a mom and a dad. My mom was a nurse. My dad worked for a chemical company. They both had 16-hour shifts sometimes, but we were very seldom home alone. And if we were, it was the big sister or the big brother who was in charge. There was still authority in that house, even for that short time. Now siblings don't grow up with authority. They all equal, whether they 5 years apart or not. You got the 3-year-old and 18-year-old, you know, all of that. And so that part of it too is a part that I think that we suffer from. But it's the benefit of it, of that 3-year-old being a little bit rambunctious and sassy, that if it's guided by the proper authorities, it can be a powerhouse. And that's what I tell my grandkids. When people tell my granddaughter is so intelligent. So, you know, you have 2 kids. You have the child that can be smart and the child that can be too grown. It is our job to balance that, to bring the too grown down to here, but let that intelligence flare. You know, let it fly. If we don't, you then decapitate the brain of a child who could be greater than you are. So I don't believe in that. I do believe in letting children have some authority of their own decisions. Like I love to see how a 5-year-old mind works when it comes to certain critical thinking. Like with my grandkids, their fathers don't live in the house with them. Your father's on the phone, do you want to talk to your father? Tell my daddy I'm doing X, Y, and Z, whatever. They're very capable of telling I'm too busy, you know, but they are very polite about it, you know.
Right. They can communicate it. Right. Right.
That's awesome.
Yep.
That's like that's mine's 11 going on 30 right now. So
I
got a 14-year-old going on 30.
That's for sure.
Yep.
It's cool though. She teaches me on the iPad. Like you said, they're very smart because there's things she'll be like, Dad, no, it's this way and this way. I'm like, wait, what? What you mean?
Yep.
Okay, you're right. That's cool. Hell yeah. Thank you.
Right.
Stuff. Like they just be on point with that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they was born know how to do it.
Teaching me.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's how it's supposed to be though. Eventually,
so Nicole,
we gotta step back and let them take over, you know. So
yeah.
What made you choose retics over the ball pythons? Is that what you chose in the beginning? Was retics over the balls, or you had balls first?
I had balls, yeah. So ball pythons were my first keeping animal. So ball pythons were my life until I got into the retics. So what happened was just like for years, people, you know, I love the bigger snakes, and then you had the horror stories that you only heard, right? So you don't want a bigger snake because of this. You don't want a bigger snake because of that. So when I decided to get the first retic, my mind was made up that I wanted to see for myself. I had kept at that particular point, it was over 30 years that I had actually kept reptiles. So get the retic, and it was totally different from anything that anyone ever said. Now, I will say I was very strategic. I knew that I should only purchase from a handful of breeders. The breeder that I chose to purchase from, the people that I admired had animals from him, and they said you want to get an animal who's already worked with and handled. So we get to T'Challa. So the mother of my first clutch is the very first reticulated python that I got. That was in 2019. No, maybe 18. But anyway, she was the first one. So before then, though, it was only my ball pythons and my corn snakes that I actually kept. But then I got her. And it was the day that, people always talked about their intelligence. So one day I was giving her a bath, and that snake got up out the water, and she was only like 5 months old, came out of the tub where she was taking her bath and went right back into her enclosure, and I fell in love. Anything that's smart, that's what I needed. And so immediately I ordered the second one. And then I think like from probably like every month for like the next 6 months, our new repick came. And it wasn't until I got to like 7 or 8 that I said, okay, I'm going to wait until they all grow up first before I get any more. And then, of course, I had the clutch that actually had babies. So now I had more reticks to, choose from. And that was the cool thing too, because now I bred my own. Well, they bred themselves, but now I have my own and I can pick from them too. And so I actually got supposed to be 1 whole back, but now there's 3 whole backs, and I held back from this clutch because you get attached to them because of personality. So I have some reticulated python, baby reticulated pythons in there that treat animals, but there's no connection. There's others that the connection is already there. Like I can go in there and it comes up and it's just like their mom and dad is, it's very intimate. And so those are my 3 whole backs.
Oh, I want one.
How many reticks do you have in total?
Yes, so
just
that are yours that you're keeping.
So the out of the 10 that are the original and non-babies, out of the remaining babies, I have 3 that I'm holding back, and the other 7 are still for sale.
Nice.
Hell yeah. If we could have one, trust me, we grab one off you, Nicole, but we can't.
Sure.
Poor Florida. The perfect place to have a retic. That's the crazy thing.
Right?
You're the
Never
reason I
make
told you. You're the
one day
reason
it
I
makes
want
one
one
inch.
so bad.
They are amazing. Like there is not an animal here other than the water monitor that I can honestly say that I look forward every single day to see and touch and just engage with every last one of them. They're like my daycare. So it's like going to work and I'm the daycare teacher and I'm ready to go and let all the students out into the room, and they are just absolutely exceptional animals. And you have to live with them. Like I can't explain. Like even if you have one retic, you haven't gotten the full experience. When you have multiple and you got to see like having a bunch of friends with all of these, you call this friend because this friend is fun for this. This one right here is definitely going to be the one that's going to chill with you. You're going to get this friend right here because this one is going to do something so simple today. You don't know what it's going to be, but it's going to crack your hell up. I'll literally be here and you would think I'm in here with people because they're doing stuff that is very people-like, and it's just hysterical sometimes. Like Hefe, if I'm in there cooking in the kitchen, Hefe will come straight to the kitchen and like come up, and he's smart enough not to touch the fire, but he can bring his body high enough so he can smell what it is that's coming. To the point where I have to push him away, like, come on, no, you don't need to be over here smelling this. He is just so into it. Then T'Challa, that's the one that y'all see. If y'all having breakfast, I'm having breakfast too. She's gonna come get up on that chair and come right up on that table and be like, what's going on? They are it's weird, but you gotta experience it. Like, and so my addiction came with the retics because it's like having a bunch of friends in the house. I don't have to go out to the club or anything like that if I want to party. And the ball pythons I love too, but it's a different relationship. Like there's nothing like the relationship you can have with reticulated python, and the berms too, but the retics are so much more they got so much more going on.
I see some of your Instagram videos and they'd be all over the room, climbing on the lights and over the tables and just checking out. Like
they live here.
They're very curious. They look very curious. They like to see what's going on.
They love to see what's going on. And on the reverse of that, if you have them and you keep them in those enclosures, I think that you drive them crazy. So when you hear people talk about like their retics freaking out and stuff like that, I think it's a reaction to wanting to just quote unquote escape. So I always tell people, I don't see those behaviors
Reptiles.
because they're never held captive. I open these when I come down here in the morning. Every door gets slid open. Lights get turned on. Doors is open. If you want to come out, they'll come out. If they don't, a retic will let you know if I don't want to come out. Their door will sit open. They'll turn it back to the door and they'll continue to sleep. So if that's what you choose to do, I close those doors. So let's say if none of them want to come out, I close all the doors. If one of them want to come out, the one that comes out is the one that's going to be out for a while, and I close the other doors. When I come back down here later on the day to clean the ball pythons, I do that same thing again. Pretty much throughout the day, they're getting 4 or 5 times that they can escape if they want. And if they don't, that's fine too. And you'll see days you might have one that don't want to come out for 2 days, and then the next on that third day, it's like the first one that's out. But they get an opportunity to make a decision to do what they want to do. So therefore, it's not like they feeling like they got to push on a glass to escape or something like that. And I think that makes a big difference. And it's staying to what your point is, I don't restrict them because they're so smart. I've learned that like T'Challa, she'll find Michael. And so because she knows how to get from point A to B in the house, she doesn't feel like she can't go get Michael if I'm busy with 3 other retakes. She knows how to get to Michael. The only thing that we have to make sure is that the Rottweiler is not right there.
I would say, do you have dogs? How does the dog work with them? I
don't let the retakes go near it. First of all, my Yorkie Poo with them all the time. Like my Yorkie Poo, when it comes down in the retake room, he does things like he will poop like right in front of the enclosure because he just want to irritate the crap out of the retic, and a retic reacts to that.
I was gonna say that's a little dog too, a Yorkie.
Yeah. Oh, he's gone. I always tell him, I said, if you ever go down there one night and one of them escapes, you're a goner because you irritate the crap out of them. When the Rottweiler is more like, you know how you ever see a dog with a baby? The Rottweiler is more like, I'm not going to go in those rooms because I know the babies are in there type of thing. I don't know what would happen if though one of the 15-footer comes up and just go to the Rottweiler. I'm almost certain my Rottweiler is going to be reactive to that.
Right.
But I never tested it and I never would.
Right. Yeah. So what do you do when you let them free roam? Do you just make sure they don't go near each other pretty much?
Own room. So typically we don't let them free. They're not out unless the Rottweiler is normally going out in the backyard in the morning most of the time. Okay. So normally he's out before we let him out. The Yorkie Poo is normally upstairs in my room for the most part. That's the one we have to worry about the most. Because like I said, the Rottweiler would avoid the snake unless the snake is not avoiding the rock. You know, the Yorkie Poo it has yet to realize it can eat them. Yeah. And it literally irritates them. So the Yorkie Poo would come straight to that snake. And for sure, we laughed one day. I don't know what it was. We heard when something was like, we thought for sure it happened. We was like, oh, but it was something else. I don't know if it was a chair or something that my son had did, but we thought the Yorkie Poo, because the first thing we heard was like, where's Nino? But yeah, so we just we're always conscious of where is what. Like we don't let the water monitor out while the snake's out, type of thing.
Right.
And we just got protocols. Like if Michael hear me down here, he's going before he let Rocco out his room, he's going to say, "Ma, or you got any snakes out?" You know what I'm saying? Like we just got like protocols.
That's cool. That's really cool.
And it's nice because they're big enough where you can let them out and like find them. You know, ball python, you're gonna be like, where on earth?
Exactly.
It's gonna go hide.
Yeah,
that's what a ball python's gonna do. It's gonna go hide.
They always, you can hear them. Like but again, it's different personalities. You got some who will come out, probably go to the next room, find a spot and chill. You got others that literally go high and low. Like Sam was saying, I have to watch them. We got like a real big chandelier that's in the front entrance. And you're thinking it's way up in the ceiling. There's vaulted ceilings in that area. So you're thinking that retic will never get it. But when they get 15 feet, they can literally get on the stairwell, arch themselves from the stairwell to get to the chandelier. So now we got to listen for click, 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 click to make sure the retic is not on it. So that's the biggest thing. The thing is when they're out, you can get still a whole lot done, but they can really break some stuff, you know.
Oh yeah, I bet.
Because they're heavy, they ain't light, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Be
That's
knocking
crazy.
stuff over all the time. Where can everybody find you at? What social medias are you on?
Instagram, a lot on TikTok. So most of what I do now is on TikTok, because TikTok is just so much fun. And of course, you know, my YouTube channels. I have my YouTube, Lady Tiz Exotics. So everything is Lady Tiz Exotics on Instagram, Lady Tiz Exotics on YouTube, Facebook as well, Lady Tiz Exotics. I have the actual Lady Tiz Exotic page there as well.
Nice.
But when in doubt, YouTube. Start from YouTube and you can filter to everything else. But TikTok is definitely probably my favorite platform right now. And that's for the sale of animals and for the education and display of them.
Oh, that's awesome. I gotta get on there.
Oh, y'all will do really,
much.
really well, because like Alex and Justin, like I love the couple things are powerful, especially in the reptile. Like to see, because okay, if it was just Justin, that's one thing, but then you right next to them, the couple that do it together, they do the best, because you're attracting so many different people.
Right.
Even by myself, like people, I get a lot of people. I have sometimes 15,000 people watching at one time on TikTok. And that's not nothing compared to like a Deadwoods or Celtic Balls is doing really, really good on TikTok right now. And they do like showing people their breeding processes and stuff like that. People be intrigued, like non-reptile people be intrigued about this.
Yep.
Yes, it's interesting anyway, because it's so different. And like, you know.
So even if they're not going to buy a snake like today, like one of my ball python sales was from a girl that had been watching me, and I didn't know she was watching me. And then one day she said, "Okay, I'm ready. I'm ready to buy my first ball python." And that ball python went to Houston, Texas. So you never know. I get the most. Morph Market has not sold for me like TikTok.
Really?
Wow.
And most of my sales come
My
from
problem with TikTok is I get hooked on it. I'll fucking be boop, boop, scrolling before I can even get on it and do anything.
I think Leland was saying the same thing, if I'm not mistaken. I think Leland was saying he was making more sales on TikTok than Morph Market as well.
Yeah, I'm telling you. And then it's not just like sales. It's like, you know how on Morph Market you always kind of, I'm not saying you don't have to worry about with TikTok, but you worried about who that buyer is. TikTok is more like you create a community of buyers. So like you have this clique of people that start buying from you, and because they saw the other 10 people in the live buy from you, the 11th person want to buy from you as well. And then these are the same people who, you know, especially with the retakes, like buying the same animals because they got just like I got my first 6 retakes on the same person, because the first one didn't bite me, so I'm gonna go in and get the exactly. A lot of people are like that with the ball pythons. You're educating, like, so you might have did 5 lives and not realize that person one time, but you educated them on 5 different lives, and it made them prepared. So they choose you, they trust you. They don't even realize there's another community of breeders out there, because they only met you from TikTok and your animal. You are their person.
And I heard like TikTok, you reach like a lot more. You get like quicker followers, viewers, and everything way quicker.
Because people know they're just scrolling. And this is like, for me, I noticed that for me, the big snakes, if I have a big snake and I don't have to be doing nothing but kind of just standing there and just talking out of the gate, you're going to get a whole bunch of followers. Same thing with the bigger lizards. People are interested in seeing you handle the water monitors and stuff like that. It's just that it's hard for me to go live with the water monitor, because the water monitor is not sitting there too long for y'all. Like,
you're gonna be in pain.
He's big. Like, he's not the little monitor. Big. So I gotta put him down. But like a Deadwoods, if y'all not following Deadwoods Reptiles on TikTok, first of all, I had them on my channel not too long ago, but they have like 40 acres, I want to say it is.
Oh, hell yeah.
And they literally are always like building, and they're like doing videos outside on the land, and they have a cemetery attached to their land. And so like they make such the coolest content with the retics.
Oh wow.
They are currently like remodeling, like they took a building, so they like a building they had on the land, and they're remodeling to make it like a whole play area for their retics and their larger reptiles. But they're doing it like I'm learning how. I told my husband I need a table saw because I'm learning how to build by watching their lives. Like, and you know, I always y'all say that's my weakness. I can't build. I'm learning.
That's awesome.
Watch your fingers with that table saw, Nicole. You watch them fingers with that table saw.
It'll get you.
Any of those saws.
Use a stick to push it or something. Get you something to push it through if you can. You know what I'm saying?
So that's probably why my husband never got it.
But you do your thing. You do your thing, though.
Thank you both to actually put that. Y'all have to follow their TikTok. So
yeah, thank you, Bosa. Like, thank you for that.
That's what it needs to be. That's what the educational parts needs to be. And it's just people hanging out, looking at animals, watching what they're getting work done while people just watching and looking. But it's good content too for people, like I said, who want to build and stuff like that.
Hell yeah. That's really cool. That shit, like, that's me and Stan's alley right there. We like building shit, so come on.
Yeah. Oh, I said this spring. I'm actually they're not too far from not too far from Ohio. So I said I think they're in Indiana, might be. We're gonna go and I just want to go and just enjoy the land. Like they do ATV riding on their own land and stuff.
Hell yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
So cool. So cool.
That's awesome.
Well, I don't think we're going to get through all the questions because, like, I got to keep this at an hour tonight. We got 4 minutes left. Nicole, you've been so awesome. Like, this is just flying by. I mean, we just had simple conversation, like, but this is awesome. You've been.
I know. I'm like,
great.
No, it can't be over already.
Yeah, we got like 3 minutes left, and it's like, well, dang, like Stan got through 3 questions
before we started. I was so sleepy. I'm like, this rain is blowing me. But I knew, like I said, this would be fun.
Right. When you get going, you wake up, you know, and keep going.
You gotta come back. You gotta come back and hang out again.
Absolutely.
Well, it's a good night for pairing if you got anything you want to pair up.
All the retics one day.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I put some pairings in today, that's for sure. I've seen 3 locks today.
He said the day Florida lets us, and I'm over here like, you ready to move?
Well, but that's another thing Florida got to think about. A lot of people moved because of their laws, like, and that's sad because that is the typical place. Like that's the home front for reptiles. And it just seems like the government doesn't care, but I don't think they're gonna care until enough people move.
But you could also do like a lot of sweet ass outdoor enclosures. You can do a lot of sweet ass outdoor enclosures here. Like we keep our bearded dragons outdoor. We have a badass outdoor enclosure for our bearded dragons. You know, they love age well out there.
That'd be cool.
Outdoor enclosures and stuff like that. And that's the thing. Like ideally, a reticulated python in Florida, properly caged on the outside, is. Like that will be heaven for a snake. Like, right. The rainy days and everything, like because retics love water, you know. So it would be great.
Yep.
Oh, I would have a badass big old cage. I can walk in there and everything. Come on.
Yep.
That's all you need to do is just build a nice enclosure around a couple palm trees and just let them do their thing.
That'd be great.
The branches hanging there. Because we got a lot of trees down here, and Justin will tell you they don't grow straight up for some reason. They'll grow like over the road like this and almost make like this tunnel effect when you're driving down the road. Like you're just driving through the trees. And a lot of trees down here, even in yards, they don't grow straight up. They like grow up and then come out and hook and kind of, they grow really crazy down here. So I mean, we could probably get driftwood if I want down here. Like, you know, you go to the beach, you can get all kinds of crazy looking driftwood. You just got to clean it right and treat it right before you can use it.
Bro, we go out in the boat and find driftwood all day long. We go out in the boat and find driftwood all day long.
Mm-hmm.
Go out in the boat and find
like literally right here.
Yep. Right. I can put my boat out and we can go and find it within an hour, 2 hours and find a bunch of it.
Wow.
What is your monitor, Nicole? Is that an Asian water monitor? Is that what you have?
Yep, he's
You got him from Kevin?
Yep.
Nice.
Yep, that brat is from Kevin.
How big is it now? Totally.
He's huge now, so he was laughing. So it's so funny because I don't like, because he, he's big enough to come move around on his own and stuff like that. So I probably pick him up once a week, and it just seems like now it's harder and harder. So he's probably about, I would say about 5.5 feet now with his tail.
Right.
But the body part of him is huge. Like, it's hard to even just lift him. So, like, I don't pick him up with a shirt like this. I have to put like a hoodie on because
oh yeah, definitely.
unintentionally, he's not even trying. And like his natural hug, them nails are like this.
Yeah.
And
That's
I'm
because
like,
they're so used to climbing and holding on to everything.
and they don't
get
realize they're not babies no more.
Yeah.
Like, the nails as a baby, that's one thing, especially because, water monitors, even a 5.5 foot, the first place they want to go is to your head.
Right.
So
Yep.
you're literally like, oh, you need to shield your face, and like, I like for him to come up on my back this way and then kind of sit like that. That's the most comfortable spot for me. But he doesn't always approach that way. Sometimes it's literally like, hey, So,
like, here you are. I'm coming to see you.
Yep.
Yeah, I want a pair of green tree monitors for sure. That's what I want. That's what I keep telling her I want is a pair of green tree.
That would be badass.
Yeah, I want I want MJ to feed his eggs and shit in the morning and stuff. And I'm like, man, see, that's what I want right there.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind having another water monitor if I had, because literally they need way more space than even the retics to me. So like he literally takes up the whole half of the garage, his house. So if I would love to have one. I think that I wish I had got two at the same time. Like a male and a female, and kind of let them grew up together in the enclosure that he's in, because I do believe that monitors do like that type of socialization.
Right.
But it's just no way. But I am going to do my rhino iguana, so I do have enough space for the rhino iguana. So that's going to be the one other lizard I actually get. But outside of that, I have no desire, because the ball python breeding does take up more time now, than anything. Believe it or not, and even with the retics, like if I had 40 retic babies, to me, the retics is just so much more fun to just kind of like, even if I had to clean 40 babies, I can put 10 babies on me at one time and clean 10 enclosures at the same time. They're so like,
oh my
God.
You getting that rhino iguana from Jeremy?
Yep, that's the only person I'm gonna get it from. Like, so I believe in if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Don't fix it.
He had one. I wanted to get him. He was in Daytona. My husband was like, you ain't got no way to put it. You got no way to put it. If you got a way to put it, you get one. So that was my plan when I came back. Let's figure out a way to put it. So making room for it. And so Jeremy said he's breeding them again, but that rhino iguana was just wonderful. So I just want to, I believe in when you're getting lizards, like I don't want to be the person to tame down a crazy Nile monitor. I don't want to do that, or a crazy like, even though you still have to, like, even when mine came from Nerd, it was socialized out the box. You still have to keep it socialized to you, though, because even when you switch from one enclosure to the next, they still get back to that nervousness and stuff like that. But it's different when they at least was handled, opposed to one that never touched people like that ever before. I don't want to be that person. I can be that with a retic. I can be that with a snake, not with a lizard. For me, it takes way more skill set to deal with those water monitors than they do to deal with any day.
We had to break a bearded dragon that, like, when we got him delivered and stuff, he was pretty mean and whatnot. And I mean, it takes time. Like, it took months, and now I could go in there and scoop him right up. He loves us to death now. Run right up to her, But before, like, you got close to the cage, you open that mouth wanting to bite, like, don't come near it, It's a lot, like with lizards, it's a lot of time, a lot of like showing you, hey, I'm respecting you, I'm helping you, I'm not here to hurt you or harm you or anything,
And
so
they know their power. Like lizards know, like I always say.
Oh yeah.
Which would I can get you with my mouth, or I can get you with this tail, and them water monsters,
and you don't want these problems,
right?
I tell people all the time that I would much rather for him to come at me with his mouth, because I can dodge that, than him just to randomly just hit me with that tail.
Right.
I mean, I'm 5'3". That tail would knock me right dead in that water. And they know that. But them lizards know it. They know the power of the tail.
I grew up in like
whip ain't no. I used to have a big black throat, and that tail whip ain't no joke when you get whipped with it. You're like, whoa.
I grew up in
That'll
a big
tune you up real
iguana.
quick if you ain't prepared.
Yep.
Yeah. That's the one animal you'll see. Not much as the water monitor because his approach is different, but like the tegus, whenever I go into their tents, especially the male, you never know which one you're gonna get. He moody as crap. One day he might be like la 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 la. Next day he's and you don't want to just push in there until you realize which one he is. Like some people go in there and just no, you better peek with Moody and look at him first. Okay, all right, that's what we on today, then we cool. But I honestly can tell you when people be like, I can't believe you keep all them big snakes. They're nothing compared to the lizards. Nothing.
Right. It's funny how you say that because I grew up with iguana. It was the same way. Like me and my mom, like she let him free roam because he ended up being like a dog. He got so big, he just free roamed the house like a dog. You know, she had a little lamp that hung from the ceiling and his little bed that he could lay in with and get his heat if he wanted to, or he'd go on the back porch at the end of the day. You know, but he had his days where you could walk up to him and look at him and be like, all right, bro, you don't want to be touched today. Or some days you walk up and he'll come up to you and you're like, all right, oh, you want to be petted today? You want to come on my lap? You know, hang out? All right, cool, come on. You know. You just know the days you can look at them and just read them, you know.
Like I laugh as Larry will go. Either Larry is going to look at me like this when I come in, or he's going to look at me like this. And when he looks like this, I'm like, okay, we cool. That casual one is like, I'm not in the mood right now. Right?
It's like don't even. Don't
yeah, and then I mean, not that you can't touch him, but you want to be more cautious than you would have to be if he's not excited,
right.
Like, you know,
right.
Right.
Well, like you said, Marley, he'd whip the shit out of you. You walked up on him, and it wasn't that day. Whack! And you're like, all right, bro, damn.
Yeah, I have never been hit myself by the water monitor's tail, but I've seen him like use it.
Oh,
and I'm like,
no, thank you.
Loud. Like that was. It sounds like you see an alligator do it. They have that much power in their tail.
Yeah.
I don't know. They can move their tail in a way that it's just dangerous. And I truly believe that if you're hitting the right place by a monitor's tail, it will knock you out. And I don't want to be like in his water because sometimes I'll just go over there. You know, I like to share the space with my animals. Like you see me get in my retic enclosures. I think that you have a better experience when you share that space. So I don't let my water monitor think his water is just for him. I will walk straight through it. And when I get in there, he is normally, that's probably the best time to engage with him. If you can't see him, if he hear my feet hit his water, he'll come out and he'll come into his water. That's my favorite way to get him to come out, opposed to just waking him up.
Like, hey, I mean, you know, you can't be abrupt with anything, you know.
Right. All right, guys, I still got to run my brother down to my mom's house tonight. But Nicole, it's been a pleasure. I wish we had more time tonight. We could have went to midnight.
I can come back.
Yeah, we got to have a part 2 of this show for sure.
Yeah.
So good. She needs a second show.
In the chat. Boys,
out there in the chat, it's been wonderful.
Thank you for coming, Nicole.
No, thank y'all. How's Becky doing today?
What'd you say?
She's hurting. She's hurting. She can't get her treatment until after the holidays before she gets her next treatment. So it's
bye, bro. Bye, Keisha.
She's got a bad spot on her hip now, and she's got 2 fractures on her spine. But the fractures, it's not like it's broke; it's fractures because the mass is taking over 2 spots on her vertebrae. So.
Well, we'll keep praying for her.
They're hoping that the radiation will knock it down some. So, I mean, the pain pills just ain't working. And it's like every time you talk to them, they're like, oh, well, just eat, 1.5. Next is going to be 2, and it's like the pain pills just isn't working. I mean, she troopered up with me today and she didn't want to sit in the house anymore. So she went up to Justin's with me for a little while. But even the little bit of time we were up there, she was just in a ton of pain on the way home, but she wanted to get out of the house, so
hang in there.
which is good
Yeah.
that she's getting out of the house,
We're
coming over
trying.
here. And
100%.
whatnot, you know, so it's good
Yeah.
getting that little break out of the house for a little while, you know. So
All right.
Just as
All
long
right,
as when she
guys.
gets in, seeing so much pain, it'd be a little easier.
right.
Yeah.
Sorry
It's
for
like
interrupting.
you want to keep masking the pain with these pain pills. Like, oh, here you go. This is masking. No, fix the problem. Quit masking the problem, you know. So
Yeah.
but
All right,
all right, guys, everybody on the show.
Hey, thank
See
you.
you on Thursday.
Thank you so much, Nicole.
Yes, thank you,
See you
Nicole.
later, Alex and Justin. Bye, Stan.
Bye, Nikki.